Good afternoon. For those who do not know me, my name is Patrick Hall. I'm a professor here of philosophy and religious studies and have been so since 2008. As a member of the advisory committee of the Institute for Religion and Science at Chestnut College, I would like to welcome you to this afternoon's in-person and Zoom event. A particularly warm welcome to the many who are here with us for the first time. 14 years ago, the Institute for Religion and Science was established to promote the constructive engagement of religion and spirituality with science and technology, and to encourage a dialogue that is interfaith, multi-science, and civil. To this end, we sponsor lectures, a reading circle, and other events. Do check our website for resources, particularly for past videos and for our blog. Also, be sure to sign up for our mailing list and this will help you stay aware of upcoming programs. I will now pass things off to Sister Kathy Duffy, who will introduce this afternoon's speaker. Okay.
Be careful of the cords because I'm an expert tripper. Not the kind that you usually think of, but it trips over bars. So good afternoon. I'm sorry to the Zoomers for the little bit of delay. It's some technical difficulties, and now I think we have everything fine. And I just want to assure you that we'll send you a recording in case you don't see things as well as we had hoped to. But I'm so happy you're here today. So as Patrick mentioned, we've been providing lectures, workshops, and reading circles for over 12 years now here at the Institute for Religion and Science at Chestnut College. And this afternoon, it's such a pleasure to welcome you to our current event with Rachel Katz. Rachel's the daughter of Saul Katz, who was an original member of our advisory committee for the Institute, and a strong advocate for its founding and its funding. I just was remembering that last night. He was the one that said, we have to put money in Philadelphia, and who could do it, but he thought I could. So he believed in me. And so I'm very grateful to him. I'm getting some feedback.
Oh, I can turn it up.
Okay. So, and although I've known Saul for over 25 years, I never had the pleasure to meet Rachel until this summer at a conference on spiritual experience at Star Island, New Hampshire. Each morning, a group of the participants would wander down toward the water's edge to participate in our daily exercise. Rachel's approach to Qigong is rooted in making ancient practices accessible and easy to integrate into daily life. Her goals are to make learning joyful and to give students the simple, powerful tools to use long after the class ends. I must say, I did practice a couple times, but I haven't been doing it every day, so I'm hoping I will get, I'll begin to take it more seriously. But what impressed me most about the experience was the grace with which we moved as one. At least more or less the first couple days, but we did get better at it. Such an aesthetic practice to begin the day. Rachel is a fabulous teacher, so encouraging and so aware of the members of the group. For me, these morning gatherings were one of the highlights of the conference. And why hadn't I met Rachel over those years? Imagine, 25 years and I had never met her. Well, for the last 25 years, Rachel was in China, learning Qigong from the masters and teaching workshops, both there and eventually all over the world. Her deep hands-on training gave her knowledge as well as an embodied understanding of the practice. As a Qigong teacher, Rachel's approach is rooted in making ancient practices accessible and easy to integrate into daily life. Her goal is for students to leave with simple, powerful tools they can use long after the class ends. Rachel's career as an educator, school leader, author, and program developer for children was set early. At just 6 years old, after a day spent counting with a blue cookie-loving monster on a children's TV show, you know who that is, she knew exactly what she wanted to do. She wanted to make learning joyful. And that's what she does. Rachel's the author of the author of Emotionally Intelligent Child, Effective Strategies, or Parenting Self-Aware, Cooperative and Balanced Kids, and the Big Book of Big Feelings. And you have a new book.
I wrote both of them. The Big Book of Big Feelings.
You'll have to tell us about it, okay. She has also created content for television, Hong Kong, and has been schools across the globe. During the presentation, you might think of a question or a comment. This is particularly true for the people on Zoom. So for those on Zoom, you can post your questions, your comments at any time in the chat. And we'll take time during the program to ask for comments and questions from our in-person attendees. So we'll collect the comments. Patrick and I will, collect them and pass them on to Rachel. So Rachel, it's such a pleasure to have you here today with us. Thank you so much for coming and agreeing to take time to be with us. And now let's all extend a very warm welcome to our teacher and workshop director, Rachel Katz.
All right, some folks from Zoom are coming on. Sorry. It's hard to manage a live group and also moderate a group that's coming on Zoom, so I really appreciate your patience. So first of all, let me just say, I am normally the person that doesn't talk out loud to a big group. So it's like I always get a little nervous. Just work with me. For the last several years, I've been working mostly on writing and illustrating children's books. So that's a process where you are in your head and on a piece of paper with color. So this is very exciting for me to be with a group of people sharing these practices. So as Kat has said, I'd like to share a little bit of my background so you can understand where I've learned Qigong. So first of all, it's pronounced Qi. When you see the Q and the I together, it makes it sound like Qi, like cheese. But take the S and the E off that, so Qi. And then the word Gong. And in the Chinese characters, when you translate that, it means Qi refers to energy. But it's a different kind of energy that it's not like the electric energy. It's actually the energy that's in our body. And if you think of it, it's an energy that's sort of within us, but also that energy that is between us and what's around us. So there would be an energy of people that I would have a conversation with. There would be an energy with how I would relate to the space. And then in relation to that, it's the energy that I would then feel in my body. So it's this toggling between what's inner and outer. And so it's a nice way to think of energy in that way. When the ancient Chinese were talking about energy in this way. And the word gong in Chinese simply translates to work. But when we talk about work in the ancient Chinese traditions, it's not like your career, where you go and you show up to work every day. This is the work that you do when you want to be really knowledgeable about something. When you want to understand it so deeply that it will permeate every cell of your being. And that's what work is. So you can imagine these ancient practices of energy work, where I am looking and toggling all the time at the energy that's within me, and that, you know, that subtle feeling I always have when I'm having these strains, whether it's a mind or a body or a mind-body combination, and then work, where I am working hard to understand what is this energy within me, between me and all these other sentient beings that I'm living with, as well as the energy in my space and in my environment. So that's really the introduction to Qigong. And now I'll tell you a little bit about the history of Qigong and how I... Did you...
Absolutely. Is there a distinction to be made between prana and Qi?
Okay, I love that question. So prana is the ancient breath, sort of energy practice that was talked about in India long, long ago. Qi is the energy practice. It's not this... Most people would just say yes, think of them similarly. When you go deep into these practices, you start to learn the subtle differences between prana and Qi. But to keep it simple, I'm just going to say, yeah, think of them in the same way. You know, with the prana, you're going to notice the breath a little bit more. In the Qi, you're going to notice the energetic sensation as well as the breath. Okay, I hope that's helpful.
Yes.
Okay. And are we familiar with this term of prana? So in the ancient, sort of the Eastern traditions that were coming from China and India, we're looking at thousands of years, maybe 4,000 years ago, we're looking at this idea of there is power in your breath. Because the way that you use your breath, they didn't have the science that we have now to understand that using your breath in a wise way is actually working to, what's the right word? Sort of neutralize all the systems in the body to get them working together well. So if you are too energetic, then it's too much on the nervous system. It's too much on the digestive system. But if you are calm, then you're sort of reaching a kind of neutral that the body also requires for proper homeostasis. So these ancient practices of Qi, of prana, they understood this, but they didn't have the science that we have now to say, oh yeah, there's something to these practices. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So, it's a fascinating practice, but if you think about 4,000 years ago, there were people that still had the same bodies. We had the same nervous system, the same digestive system, we're functioning the same way. And so there's a curiosity that you're going to have about how do I remain, homeostasis and calm equilibrium. And so this is where they came up with this Qi and this prana and these practices. We can talk about this for days. It's very exciting to me. But okay, so I'm just going to back up. So as a child, my mother was very interested in yoga. So, think of early 1970s, she's trying to she's a career woman and she also has these kids and she's trying to figure out her own sort of energy, and she discovers, I can introduce meditation and yoga to my children and ask them to be quiet and meditate for like 20 minutes a day, and that will give me my peace. So as a kid, my brother and I were taught how to meditate. And we were taught moving meditation, because in those days for children, they wouldn't ask you to sit still. They asked you to move. But as you moved, you had to move at a pace that you could understand your own body's energy. And so it was perfect. It was right before dinner. We had to meditate. And my mother would have, she had 20 minutes. She could prepare a meal, she could do. So this was something that just I grew up with and had a curiosity. Flash forward, I'm in university. I study the arts. I'm at the New York University School of Film. I'm studying that. And I become still very interested in yoga. I've been an athlete my whole life. I've discovered, I've been doing a lot of running, a lot of training for races, and I was like, I'm out of balance. My body and my energy is out of balance. So I find a yoga institute in New York City, teaching meditation, and I'm feeling really good. I professionally write and create programming, educational programming for children. And at the time, I'm in New York, completing a master's degree at this point, and I am invited to China to work on the first children's radio program for children after sort of this post kind of Tiananmen world. And I accept this job thinking this is going to be fascinating. I'm going to move to China. So I moved to China and I'm doing my work, my profession writing for children. And energetically, I have this tradition of, doing these sort of, these breathing techniques and these moving techniques. And I'm like, something's off. I need to find a teacher here in China. So I'm looking for yoga, and they're like, you're not going to find that here. That's not here. But you can find Qigong, and you can find Tai Chi, and you can find Dao, and you can find these teachers. So I became, introduced to some extraordinary master teachers that really taught me about this energy work. And so I've always done this as sort of, I would say, like a side hobby. But I lived for 25 years in this region studying this and have come away with a practice that is very close to my heart that I do every morning. I have done this every morning for years and years and years. And I'm here to share this with you today. So as best as I can answer any questions, I'm gonna do my best. It is a practice of movement, but it is not an aggressive movement. It is a practice of a subtle movement that is perfect movement for your body and for your type, okay? All right, so that's my little opening of myself. Now I just wanna talk a little bit about Qigong. Has anyone practiced this before, or has anyone on Zoom? Are you familiar with this? Because I'd love to hear what you do and how you came to this, or why you came here today to learn this. Anyone familiar with Qigong or Tai Chi, or have you heard about any of this? And there's no right or wrong here. Whatever you share helps me to understand what I can bring to you.
I've just seen on Tai Chi, but what I know about it is gentle movement from being one. That's pretty much what I know about it.
Okay, so those of you on Zoom, one of our participants here live has said it's a gentle, flowing practice. So that idea of flow, that idea of sort of gentle, subtle. Yes?
There are two people on Zoom. If you would ask them to write in the chat,
Okay.
and we'll read it.
I have two comments from Zoom.
Okay.
Bonnie says, yes, I have an online subscription with Lee Holden.
Yes, yeah, I'm very familiar with Lee Holden, yeah.
I do it online in the morning and at night for a good sleep.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so good. So people are doing it online in the morning. So Lee Holden, if you know his history, it's maybe a little similar to my history.
Is there theological part to this?
I love this. So this is a really good question. All right, so this is going to lead us into a little bit of the history. So I talked about the definition of Qigong. It's this ancient sort of Chinese practice that works with this Qi, how the Chinese translate it as life energy. So that's a little bit different than breath, but back to your question about that. But it is a combination of a gentle movement with breath and mental focus. So you're kind of bringing the mind, the body, and the breath together. Okay? And I'm going to answer your question about if there is a sort of, what is the philosophy, and is there sort of a religious context to this? I talked a little bit about life energy and that subtle sensation. And I also spoke to you about when you are out of sync with either your breath or your body and energy, that it is taxing on the systems of the body. If you think of flight and fight, that feeling that one, or that flooding that you might get. Sorry. I have to just unmute that because it's, sorry, the screen flashes and then, that flight and fight feeling. When you do Qigong for a period of time, what happens is that you're able to move these practices from your daily practice into how you sort of relate to the world around you. So you'll take away some of these breathing practices that then can really quiet, that can get you out of that flight or fight sensation much faster. Or that flood, if, that one might have if they tend to get angry easily. This practice is, they believe it's from 2,000 years ago. And it comes from a blend of also the Chinese medicine. So there is, if the Chinese medicine talks about the meridians in the body, and so there are these sort of lines of, if you're familiar with acupuncture, that there are these channels of energy that are always flowing through the body, and when these channels become blocked or stagnant, that's when you feel a tension in the body. And so these practices are great for just letting those blockages open up. And so that's this connection with the Chinese medicine. So here's to answer the question. Philosophically, Qigong is deeply connected to Taoism. But there is a belief that these practices were happening before that. But they weren't necessarily called Qigong. There was other forms of breath and work and that were happening, and that they were then folded into this practice of Qigong. That the Taoists kind of brought to that. But Taoism is not considered a formal religion of sorts. It's considered more of a philosophy. I mean, we might argue that, but I strongly feel it's more of a philosophy and a way of living life. But it's not sort of this organized religion in the same way that in the West we might think of an organized religion, whereas there's this sort of divine guidance. With the Taoism, the Taoists really observed, and remember, this is thousands of years ago when they were coming up with these practices. So what they had to observe with themselves in the world that was around them was nature. They didn't have these structures, they didn't have air conditioning, they didn't have all these things to sort of keep you sort of less attuned to the world around you. You're living almost in the elements. And so to understand the forces of the elements and how they're going to affect you, you have to get really close to them. So a lot of these movements are observed and mimic the rhythms of nature. So when I'll tell you the names of some of these movements, you're going to hear that there's maybe a reference to the seasons. You're going to hear that there's a reference to cycles of time, of water, of wind, right? And so these are these practices where you're sort of mimicking what's happening around you in a deep sort of observance and almost a deep respect and reverence, so that you can live in more harmony with these. And if you can live in more harmony with the world around you, it's better for your health and it's better for your relationship with others. And that's really what they were looking for. So in that sense, it's that philosophical. Does that help to understand? Did that define? These practices are always cultivating awareness. And that awareness, that self-awareness, and that, and that awareness of how you move through the world is done through your breath, is done through your posture, and is done through this sort of mindfulness. That's a term that's used sort of quite ubiquitously now. You'll hear this mindfulness. And that mindfulness is really, if you think of it, is a practice of attention, paying close attention to where you are in the moment and what you're experiencing both physically as well as emotionally. So there are just also, these practices have continued from 4,000 years ago because there are some real benefits that people have found. They have found that there's a physical benefit where it absolutely improves your flexibility, your balance, your posture, and your circulation. These are things that as we age, I'm sure we all notice that there's a change of our balance and of course of our flexibility. There's also benefit to your mental state where it absolutely reduces stress and it really improves attention and focus. And then there's, a spiritual aspect to this too. If you're in a practice where you are really almost mimicking the natural world, there's a spiritual understanding that what's happening around us is so much larger than us, and that there's so much beauty in that. And so if we can sort of be present and one with the natural world, then maybe all those little small self things that trap us and sort of keep us fighting with ourselves get to let go for a little while. And we get to pay that gratitude and respect for the miracles that are much larger than us. So for sure, there's a big spiritual practice. The basic principles, I can tell you, I traveled the world to learn these practices. And at the end of the day, after decades, and I still practice and I still have incredible spiritual teachers that teach me these practices. At the end of the day, when I've sat with myself and reflected, I have distilled that these practices, there are 3 simple principles. We can make things very complicated. And I urge you not to make this complicated, to just enjoy it. And the 3 things that you can do in this practice today is just work on regulating the breath. Just feel the breath in your body. Feel how it moves in your chest. Does it get stuck in your throat? Does it make it to your belly? Just be with the breath. And when I use the word regulate, just notice, is there some regular pattern to this? Or is it erratic? So that's really this whole regulate. So you're going to regulate the breath. You're also going to try to regulate the body. Qigong is very still. You're moving, but you're moving in an effortless effort. You will feel your body move, but you will also feel yourself forcing movement. And at that time, you just pull back, and you let the movement move you, and you move the movement. So there's that regulation of the body. And if there's a tightness, so be it. Ease up. If you're trying to move too fast, that's a great thing to notice. Oh, I get to slow down. So that's the regulation of breath, the regulation of body, and the regulation of mind. Just noticing, am I paying attention? Am I thinking about something? Am I telling myself I can't do this? Am I telling myself this is too complicated? It's just noticing where your mind is as you do this practice. So that's it. These were the basic principles. Travel, learn, study. Takeaway is regulate the breath, regulate the body, regulate the mind. So before then we're gonna switch into doing these. Let me just check my time. I think we're doing well with time. You know your physical limitations better than I do, okay? So we're gonna do this practice, and people that have learned Qigong and Tai Chi, there's normally sort of a routine that comes with these. We're not gonna do a routine today. We're gonna learn some basic movements, and I'll lead you through them and guide you. If you feel like you need a chair near you for your balance, keep it by you. If you feel like, I actually don't want to stand up today, I just want to do this seated, sit the whole time. If you feel like, you know what, I'm going to start standing, but then I'm going to sit. That's absolutely perfect. I will be able to see you, and I'll be able to adjust for your movement. We'll do these movements maybe 7 times. So the first time you might think, oh, this feels complicated. By the 7th time, you'll just be moving in it. And if you have any questions, you ask. There's no right or wrong with the movement. Again, you're regulating the breath, you're regulating the body, you're regulating the mind. That's it, okay? I'm not watching you judging. I'm just hoping that you are finding peace within and between. You know, that internal peace and that external peace. Sound good?
Yes.
Yeah? All right, let's set the room up, and then we'll get started, and then we'll ask questions. Oh, all right, let's see. Thank you all in Zoom world. Okay. All right, and I'll talk loud, hopefully you can hear me. And thank you all for being so patient in real world. Virtual world, real world. Okay, all real world. All right, so we're going to start with a warm-up. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'll do is I do my practice always in the mornings. So you can do it at night, you can do it at any time, really. But I do it in the morning, and I'm always like, okay, what's going on for you physically today? It's your physical check-in, really. And you start these practices with the feet, and then you move up to the head. And Qigong, you can think of it as a practice to the physical is really working on the subtle connection between the ligaments and the joints. So it's a very nice practice for joints and ligaments because it's not so muscular, and you'll notice how they move the joints. Okay, so you're waking up the joints, and you start from the feet, going to the head. So well, first, we're just going to start with rolling the toes. You can start with that. Just roll the toes and really roll them clockwise and counterclockwise. And as you move, bring your attention to your foot. And just notice how it's feeling. And then you can roll the foot a little. Just move it around. Open the toes. Even if you're wearing shoes, notice if you can open the web of your foot. You know, in between the toes and that metatarsal, sort of the top of the foot there. Notice if you can do that. Great. And then go to the toes of the other foot. Roll it around, move them, wiggle them, wake them up. Excellent. And if you get tired at any time, you can do this seated. Okay, so no need to stay standing for a long period of time. Good. And now go to the ankles. Just lift it up. This might require some balance, so hold on to something if you need it. Roll the ankle around. Just let it go. Grab a chair if you want to balance it. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, or you can sit down. No problem. And then go to the other foot. Bring your attention and your awareness to the feet. Whatever's moving, your mind is there. Excellent. Good. All right. And then from the feet, so we've done the toes, the ankles, and we're going to go from joint to joint. Now we're going to go to the knees. So our hands go on our knees, and you just bend ever so slightly the knees, and you lift them. Ever so slightly. And if you can if this is too deep, sit in a chair too. If you can, rub your hands on your knees. As soon as your hands start to rub your knees, you're going to notice it's going to release some tension. Rub around that whole knee joint. The knee joint is not just in the front, it's also in the back. Go to the back of the knee. Go to the sides of the leg, all around the knee. Sure, no problem. Just sit, you would be comfortable, whatever's good. And then bounce a little. Bounce a little. If at any time this is too much, ease up. Watch how I ease up. I just go to what's comfortable. Okay? Do what is good for you. Excellent. And now we're going to just roll the knees slightly. Do you see how I'm moving my knees? You can put your feet together if that's more comfortable. Just bending and moving the knees round and round. And now change directions. Excellent. Notice how the knees are. If you'd like, you can do this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a chair too, and I'll just show you how to do it in a chair. So keep rolling your knees, bending, moving, just so that I can show the same example in a chair for friends that just say, I need to sit down. When you're doing this practice in a chair, you just put your buttocks right to the edge of the chair, and then move. Okay? And you'll feel better. And you can do the same kind of thing of waking up the knees by sitting. And just bring them back and forth. This might not get the knee as much, but you can come off the chair a little and come back. Then off and back. And that's sort of the advantage of having the edge of your bottom to the chair. Excellent. And then going to the knees, now we get the hips. So a lot of the energy that's talked about in the body is moving through the spine. And so those hips, you know, if you think of where my spine is, I have my extremities, my arms, my legs, that spine is bringing a ton of energy. Also up to my brain, my spinal cord. So when we get the hips, slowly move, but pay attention to the base of the spine, which is where that tailbone area is. And so it's almost like, if you think of where the tailbone is, it's almost like you're drawing a circle on the ground in front of you with the tailbone.
Where does this contrast with chakras?
Oh, you keep asking all these questions. Can I answer that later?
Sure. Sorry.
No, it's great. I love it. There's a deep connection, obviously, from the Chinese practices and the Indian practices. Okay, great. Moving those hips around. And now you're just going to push your bottom back and then slowly tilt your pelvis forward. So back and forth action. Very gentle. Very gentle. So it's tipping back and tipping up. It's not necessarily moving with the knees. It's just a tip. And a tip. Tipping back. Excellent. Excellent. Good. All right. Now we've gone from the feet, we've got to the hips, and now we're just going to do a little bit of a folding over, okay? So what you're going to do, now I might make it look different than the way your body moves, so you do what's comfortable for you, but as we fold over to wake up those hips, the hip joint is doing the work. The hip flexor is doing the work. I'm folding, I'm releasing, and I And if you'd like to do this in a chair, same thing. You're going to come to the edge of your chair. You're going to go down and relax. And then push your feet strongly into the ground to roll yourself back up. If you're going to stand and you just go to here, that's fine. Push your feet strongly into the ground to roll yourself back up. Excellent. And let's just do this a few more times, just to wake up that whole spine and the hips. And as you get down, release, relax. Exhale the breath. Excellent. Excellent. If you just do one more. Release, relax, folding on the breath, letting the neck go. Exhaling the breath. Rolling back up, one vertebrae at a time. Great. And now we're going to do the shoulders. So let's just start with lifting the shoulders. Perfect. Careful, careful, those of us that have tight shoulders. Rolling forward and rolling back. Excellent. And then change directions, lifting up. Really relax. Great. And then we're going to do something called swinging arms. So we're going to start, and it's almost like you're swimming. And then take the other one, and you can swim. Perfect. If this is hard for the shoulder rotation, just do the tiniest little bit. The tiniest little bit, but lift the hand. Perfect. Perfect. Just lift the hand. And exhale. And inhale. Don't do anything that's going to cause you pain. Go to a place that is uncomfortable and dial it back. Dial it back. Perfect. Notice if there's too much tension or strain in your breath, dial it back so that the breath and the movement is synchronized. Perfect. And now let's swing back. Excellent. Excellent. And bend the knees a little. Bend the knees a little. Beautiful. Really waking up that shoulder joint. Perfect. Feel your breath. Slow. Relax. Kind of. Yeah, you guys are great. Good. All right. And now, we're just going to do the elbows. How long has it been since you've done the elbows? You know, this is something we do a lot in LA. So just feel those elbows. And if it's too much for you to hold the arms up, keep them down. But just open the elbows. Open the elbows. The hands will lead. The hands are your guide. Excellent. And now switch the palm up. It's going to feel very different. Notice the difference. A lot tighter, tighter on the forearm. These slow, quiet practices will teach you so much about the movement of the body. Excellent. Good. And now the other thing, we're just going to do the elbows as if we're making a big muscle. And again, if it's too much for you to go at the height of the shoulder, just drop the hands down. And so this time the palm is facing up. But now, notice what happens when it's down. You see that difference? Great. Very different sensation in the body.
How many of these movements do you do before you go to the next part?
This is just a warm-up. You're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. This is just a warm-up. So you do it just to get your body to feel. We're not even doing Qigong yet. So in the morning when I do my warm-up, I probably do about 5 or 6
Of each
of them. When I do my Qigong practice, if I'm doing a whole routine, then I do the whole routine. And it's a sort of big routine. Today, we're going to teach you a practice where you'll do 7 of each, and then you'll do something in between each, okay? All right. All right, now we're going to do our wrists, and And grab your fingers at the same time. And if you're getting tired, by all means sit. And when you feel energetic again, stand back up. And change directions. Get the hands at the same time. Perfect. All right. And then we're just going to get the neck. Slow, rolling, relaxing, joint by joint. We started with the feet, moved to the ankles, did the knees, did the hips, did the spine, shoulders, elbows, fingers, ending at the neck. And change directions. Wonderful. Perfect. Okay. Now you're ready for practice. All right. Everyone feeling good? Yes. Anyone feeling tired that they exerted too much energy?
Is it recorded?
I think so.
Or we refer back to the YouTube below?
I think so. Yeah.
Is it being recorded?
Yes. All right. So now I'm going to teach you a very classic movement in both the meditation practice of Qigong and the physical practice. There is a meditation practice where you're standing and you're breathing, okay? And then there's the physical practice. Today we're going to start with the physical, and if we have time and see what our energy is like, then we'll move to the meditation practice, okay? But remember our three techniques. We're regulating the breath, we're regulating the body, and we're regulating the mind. And we're just noticing those things. So the first practice, and the way I like to teach is just follow your hands, okay? So this is called harmonizing Qi. The palms, the hands start, they push down, and you'll notice I'll bend my knees slightly. Hands push down, they move out, they separate, their palms flip up, they come up. You're gathering Qi, and then they push down. The breath is done through the nose. The mouth doesn't inhale and exhale, so you're breathing in through the nose and out through the nose if you can. And this is harmonizing. And as you become more familiar with it, you'll notice the arms might expand more. And feel the stillness of the body. Relax the mind. Relax the breath. And let all the tension in the body go. We'll do one more. This is gathering Qi. Excellent. And then often from gathering Qi, watch my hands will move right into harmonizing Qi. So to harmonize, the fingers kind of dangle. The wrists are leading, the fingers flip up, hands come back down. All the way down, relax. Repeat the action, the hands, the fingers point down, letting the energy and the tension of the hands go. They flip up, the palms facing forward, they come down. We'll do that one more time. Excellent. Beautiful. And to finish, just bring the left foot to the right and just stand. Notice the energy of your body at this moment. Excellent. Okay, so remember, gathering chi and harmonizing chi. We'll do those in between each of these practices, each of these movements that are going to mimic nature. Okay? So the first one we're going to do is called opening chest. And this is really, we do this to open our heart. You know, sometimes we're feeling a little edgy. This is really, the hands come together, the arms. I'm just going to lead with the hands. The back of the hand comes together. Perfect. Comes back up the body, traveling. Flip up and you open your heart. Oh, that's gorgeous. Right open. Hands fall back down. And they do this again. They come in. They come up. Beautiful. Open heart. Hands. So that was 2. Do this 5 more times. Open. Perfect. Very slow. Regulating breath. Regulating breath. Quieting mind. This is balancing that energy from within and between when we need to open our hearts. And this will be our last one. Hands float down, and then we're going to gather chi. Remember this one? Pushing down. This is your gathering chi. You're taking what you need energetically, and you're sharing the rest. So when your hands go out, they're sharing. And now we just harmonize. You pull up. So you're harmonizing the energy in your body. Perfect. Excellent. Okay, then we're going to move into moving bamboo. Are you ready? Okay, so now, remember, ancient times, you're going to become a bamboo pole. Arms up. If this is too much, you have high blood pressure, keep your arms like this, okay? Do not leave them up if you feel faint or uncomfortable.
Up with the shoulders or such.
Yeah, keep your hands like this. This is perfect. Look just like this, okay? You're if you feel tired, you can do all of this in a chair. Please do what's good for your body. No ego here, okay? Most important, you do what's good for you. Okay, so here I am. I'm bamboo, my hands come together, and I'm just swaying. Visualize bamboo and how it moves in the wind. And maybe the wind is coming from the side, from the front. Just slowly move your body. Beautiful. Regulating the breath. Regulating the body. Regulating the mind. This one is kind of hard to keep. So we'll just move a little. If it gets into the lower back, just move slightly. Slightly or sit in the chair. Excellent. And then to come out of this, the hands float down. Left foot moves. To create hip width position, harmonizing chi. Gathering chi. Oh, I confused them. Pardon me. This is. I remember. Good. Okay, and now we're going to go into separating clouds. So separating clouds, we go down. Perfect. And then excellent. Bring your feet together. And then we gather chi. Taking what you need, sharing what you don't need with those around you. And then we harmonize. Perfect. Okay, now this one is a rainbow dance. Gotta love the names. All right, arms come out and do what's comfortable for you. If you have shoulder issues, keep it very low. You can have the ends of the rainbow, the tail end of the rainbow. If you want, you can have a big rainbow. Okay, now this one is kind of, foot comes up and I'm just, oh, I'm sorry, tilting to the lifted foot. Coming down, tilting. So I'm holding a rainbow, the ends of my hands, and I'm just tipping it to the left, to the right. And you'll feel a nice side stretch in the body. And I consider left and right one movement. So that both sides of the body are being used equally. Soft breath. Soft movement. One more. And to come out, hands float down, left side, left foot comes to the right, and then we gather chi. Float the hands down. I like to look down, and then we harmonize, lifting the energy up and dropping it down. Perfect. That's amazing. All right. And now we're going to do rolling balls. Again, this is with the arms. Hands are out. You'll bring one hand, and it's like you're rolling a ball. And you'll see they're going to sort of, you see like one hand will push, the other hand will pull. And imagine there's a ball of energy that you're pushing with one hand and transporting with the other. Perfect. Yeah. So my left hand pushes, the palm of my right hand is up. When the right hand comes back, I switch, I push, right, right. Just feel the breath in sync with the movement of your body. Quiet the mind. Totally relaxed. It's an effortless effort. I'm going to do this once more. Excellent. And when we finish, hands come together. Pushing down the energy, gathering chi, taking what you need, bottom pushes back. Drop the hands down. Coming back up. You're rowing the boat. Perfect. Excellent. Pushing. Bending. Knees. Hands push away. The bottom pushes away. Knees are bending. Hands circle around the body. Push it. Rowing the boat. Stand up, left foot meets the right, hands come down, gathering. Harmonizing. All right, now this is lifting the moon. So you get a wider stance here. Feet go out there. You're going to go through the legs if you can. Imagine you grab the moon. You're lifting it up. You're going to bend back slightly. Watch the lower back. You're going to put the moon in the sky. Excellent. I love it. Dance the rainbow. We lifted the moon. We were bamboo. It's perfect. Go down through. Push your feet strongly into the ground. When you push those feet into the ground, you're asking the leg muscles to do a lot of work, and that will protect your lower back. Find what's good for you in your movement, and then relax. So the movement is so effortless that you're in sync with the breath, and the mind quiets. We'll do this once more. Hands float down before the feet move. Left foot comes to make a hip distance apart with the feet. Gather and chi. Harmonizing chi. Excellent, okay. This is a personal favorite when you're working with anger. Okay, this is called punching and glaring. And you guys make some noise with this one, okay? There we go, ready? This is very happy. So you're gonna feel the tension in your fist. You're gonna make a fist you are angry. You're gonna punch forward, and as you punch, you're gonna make this sound. I'll show you once. Ha! And as soon as you release that energy, you open the hand. You feel the body relax, and you float the hand back down. Got that? All right, here we go. Ha! Open the hand. Squeeze the fist. And the last one. Excellent. Left foot brings in. So that the feet are hip distance apart. Gathering chi. Okay. This next one is moving clouds. Imagine there's a cloud in between your ears. That cloud is going to start on the right side. It's going to travel across to the left side of the body, and then you're going to swish the hands. But you're always going to be holding that cloud, so it's the same width, the same depth. And track the hands with your eyes. It's very good to quiet the mind and improve focus. So watch the hands. You know when to shift the hands when you can't move anymore. To the right side and the left side. You've twisted the body. Relax the arms. Let the tension in your shoulders go. And any tension in your face go. You're moving a cloud. So now the last one. Switch it around, bring it to the middle. Release the cloud. Push your hands down. Gather the chi. Harmonize the chi. All right, now we're ready to become flying pigeons. Are we ready? So this is great. I love it. Okay, so you're just going to open, and again, if you have shoulders, you just the slightest movement. Okay. You're taking off in flight. Six. This is our 7th. Excellent. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose, stepping the left foot to meet the right, gathering chi. Harmonizing chi. Okay, are you ready to push some waves now? All right, pushing waves. You're going to step forward with the left. Right foot behind. Hands travel up the body, the palm facing the body, pushing away as if you are a wave coming up. You'll feel the right foot and the left foot holding the balance of the body. Depending if you're leaning back, the weight is on the right. If you're moving forward, the left leg takes the weight, pushing the weight, and mimicking the crest of the wave. The whole time, palms are traveling down the body and then facing outwards. 2 more on the left side, and then go to the right side. Excellent. And to go to the right, you just simply turn the feet. Pushing down. Palms traveling up the body. We need 2 more on this side. And to come out, we'll pivot around, and this time your right foot, lead the left, hip distance apart, hands come down, gather energy. Harmonizing, from here on down. And we'll do one more. Okay, ready? This is turning the flywheel. In China, they had sort of these bridges, not bridges, they were like water wheels that would always sort of move water to the villages. So we're going to imitate these water wheels. So you come down, imagine you're sort of a wheel, wheels in your hands, dropping it down, and it kind of pivots and turns slightly to get the wheel back up. You see how I turn a little bit? Perfect. And then change direction. And to come out, the left foot meets the red, hands travel down. Gather energy. Harmonize energy. Excellent. And now we'll end our practice by releasing stagnant chi. You're going to come up on your toes. Hands come up, and you're going to drop down. Shake it out. Let it go. One more. And now we're just going to release. Shake it out. Fold it over, shake it out. Moving, releasing all the tension. Excellent. Excellent. This is the fun part. All right. And then we're just going to twist. And really regulate breath, body, your mind. Give yourself a little slap, shoulder.
What's that doing? Throw away.
Throw away. It's actually releasing. And then just tap. And all that tap. You go back. Tap belly, chest, tap the arms. Tap, give a little rub. Get all the energy out. Fresh. And now just stand. This is a classic meditation pose. Uji. Stand quietly. If you'd like, imagine holding a ball of energy right in front of your belly. Just be still for a moment. You notice the energy in your body. Relaxing, letting go, quieting your mind, regulating the breath. Letting it be. Notice how you feel now and when you started the practice. Notice the breath. Notice your feet, your knees, ankles, your back, head, your shoulders. You will drop the hands. And now you'll take the right hand into a fist. The left hand will come over the right hand. And we'll bow in gratitude to all of those amazing teachers from 4,000 years ago that have passed these traditions on to us. And all of those teachers that continue to teach to today. Deep gratitude. Let's practice. Deep gratitude for this planet that sustains life on earth. And deep gratitude for whoever or whatever you'd like to pay gratitude to at this moment. You got the hands. That's right.
You did, right. There are a couple questions here. There's some in the chat.
Let's see, thank you so much. It's really moves energy. Will you be continuing to teach classes? Do you speak Chinese?
Yes, I speak Chinese,
Okay.
and I can get back to you about teaching classes. That means, don't say it. Tom?
I have a question about, you mentioned moving a little further around or using the right hand and this and that. What is the distinction of that part of the thing?
There's, with the gratitude,
Use the microphone.
oh,
Yeah.
from my understanding, again, remember these practices, when you're learned something, and they're 4,000 years ago, right? These were oral traditions, then they become written, and then everybody appropriates them. Okay, so I might say something, and you might think, well, that's completely different from what I've learned, but this is what I've learned. I've been told that the right hand and the left hand of the gratitude depends on the gender. And in terms of the moving with the left and the right, it's really just where the foot is. And for me, and the practices that I've been taught, most often the left is coming back to be the right. And so also so today we did movements that are part of sequences there's things called the 18 forms, there's things called 8 brocades. You know, these are sort of a linked practice where you'll have these movements and it's kind of like a dance. The left foot kind of is a good guide and the hands are a good guide to sort of know where you are. Yeah.
Talking to the microphone.
So I teach weightlifting martial arts, and I have a lot of my students or people I'm training to go to a YouTube channel. Do you suggest any major instructors out there on YouTube? Because this would be hard for some people to follow. And if they advance or other YouTube instructors?
Yeah, I mean, I suggest if there is an instructor in your neighborhood, learn these things live.
Right.
Because the energy that you experience, sorry, YouTube. The energy that you're going to experience from another person is very different from following something online. Having said that, if you go online, what I have found is look at lots of different channels and determine whose energy and whose movement feels closest to the way you want to feel and the way you want to move. Don't just go to the one that says Qigong. Many are going to say Qigong, and you might discover this was nothing like how I felt when I did this that one day, or when I came to do this at the Institute of Religion and Science.
Somebody comments, mahalo mucho, energizing and balancing. So I think that's a compliment. And here's a question, in regulating the breathing, is it okay to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth while moving?
If you need to breathe out of the mouth, do that. The best use of breath work is in through the nose and out through the nose. And a really good book to read and to understand the science of that is the book called Breath, or it's called Breathe. And that will help you to understand why, in fact, we do breathe in and out of the nose. There are times where you will exert a lot of effort and you'll feel, that the breath cannot exhale enough through the nose. Of course, by all means, use the mouth. But over time, you'll discover that as you are learning to regulate and use breath with the body and the flow of your energy, that you will have a lot of breath that can be moved in through the nose and out of the nose.
I have a question. At one point, in every cycle you gather chi and then harmonize it?
Correct.
Why can't you just gather it? Why does it have to be harmonized?
Again, you can just gather it, you can harmonize it. Some people just will do that at the beginning of their practice, and at the end, it's just something when I teach people that haven't done this for a long period of time, I will use gathering and harmonizing as sort of like a bookmark or a bookend, if you will, so that after that movement, I'm going to gather, I'm going to harmonize, I'm going to get a chance to regulate my breath, my body, my energy, and then I'm going to learn something new. So that's why I use those as sort of your bookends.
Purpose of the question.
We have to talk to the microphone to talk to our friends.
How does this relate to chakras?
So the chakras are energetic channels in the body,
Right.
that are like doors that are just kind of opening and closing.
Mm-hmm.
There is a similar energetic door, if you will, in the Qigong practices, in the traditional Chinese medicine practices. They just don't call them chakras.
Okay.
They're more closely related to the meridian and to larger, like the lower part of the belly, they'll call. Once you get sort of deeper into these practices.
So it's more semantics than anything else, right? Yes or no?
I wouldn't call it necessarily semantics. I would say there's a lot of similarities and differences.
Okay. But the chakras, I understand, each one has a very specific purpose. So when you're going through this, when you're getting all those purposes going on with them?
Well, remember, this is not a practice of the chakras,
Okay.
right? So I don't want to conflate them,
Okay.
right? So when you're doing this practice, you're releasing the blocked energy along the meridians,
Okay.
which are from the Chinese medicine. And the chakras and the prana are from the Indian and the Ayurvedic tradition paths. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Just for your own.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you could, if you want to conflate them, you can, but just historically,
Okay.
two different practices.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, so I think we better end, and I just want to thank you, Rachel. Expected, so that's wonderful. Only my arm isn't completely cured yet, but thank you. I tried. So before we leave, especially also for the people on Zoom, if you would like to be on our mailing list for the Institute, all you have to do is send me an email. My email's easy. www.chestnut.edu, and we'll be glad to keep you in touch with all the events that we're having. Yes, and Rachel, I just want to...
Okay, now this is very different from Qigong, but professionally, I'm in child development, and this is a great book if you work with children. It just came out, it's published by New Harbinger, you can find it everywhere, Amazon, Walmart, what's the T, the one? Target, you can find it everywhere, you can, find it online from the publishers. This is great for children.
For Christmas?
Great Christmas gift, buy it. And then here's another one that's really good about child development. Oh, upside down. Yeah.
Who's published?
New Harbinger.
Alternative Department.
New Harbinger. And that's a great resource for Qigong and this one is the motion. That's good. This is good if you want to really know the science behind the development of the mind. And then this is great for kids to develop the language emotions, which is really good for these Qigong practices.
Yeah, why don't we
So I have
Let me finish. Let me finish. We have reading circles for anyone who wants to join us, and you can find all this information on our website. If you go to the American Taylor Association website, which is teilhardesjardins.org, you'll see all our events. If you also go to Chestnut Hill website and look under institutes, and the Institute for Science and Religion, you'll find that also. But once again, I want to thank everybody who attended. I hope you've learned something. I know I have. And we want to thank Rachel one more time for a wonderful, wonderful presentation. We'll be sending you the video, the recording as soon as it's edited. Okay, so maybe you can, follow those movements too. Be one way to keep up with it. All right, thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you the next time.
Thank you.